discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
You're tuned in to Roundtable. I'm Steve Hatherley today with Fei Fei and Yushun. Coming up, meat used to be the star of every meal. Now, though, young Chinese diners are panicking over produce, which is strange because for decades the hard part was getting anyone to eat their leafy greens. Somewhere along the way, though, things changed and vegetable anxiety is now trending. After that, an episode of Heart to Heart. It's the segment where we step back and let you take the mic. Today, we'll have a message from Margaret, who is curious about the inner workings of our show. You can stay tuned for that. Our podcast listeners, that's you, can find us at Roundtable China on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, while you're there, please do hit 5 stars and leave us a kind review if that's not asking too much. And also don't forget that we love to hear from you too. So send your voice notes our way. Roundtablepodcast at QQ.com. Once again, roundtablepodcast at QQ.com. There was a time when getting extra meat in your takeout felt like a bonus. Well, that might not be the whole case anymore. In China's changing food landscapes, a new trend called vegetable anxiety is buzzing online as young people are constantly wondering, did the meal include vegetables? Were the portions fresh? Was there enough fiber to balance out the oils and the carbs? Why are young people so suddenly obsessed with veggies, and what does it mean for consumers and for businesses alike? We have to look at this as kind of a positive thing, I would say.
Definitely. Well, because when we're talking about vegetable anxiety, we're not talking about medical condition. It's not the anxiety that need medical workers to stamp you to verify. It's more like a viral phrase on social media that became really popular this year. It basically described that uneasy feeling that many young people have when they have not eaten enough vegetables during the day. I actually have this kind of anxiety at some level. Like, for example, for throughout the day, if I don't feel like I eat enough leafy greens, I'm not just talking about carrots or eggplants. I think it's more specifically targeting to those leafy green vegetables.
Like lettuce or cabbage or spinach or whatever.
I have this very uncomfortable and sometimes guilty that I'm not eating well today.
Really?
Yeah.
I do not have that.
Anxiety.
Yeah, it feels like it's in the gene of Chinese people that a whole meal, it has to have a part that is vegetable. And leafy greens are the representatives of
Yeah,
vegetables.
we're not talking about broccolis or carrots. No, we're only talking about leafy greens.
Oh, broccoli.
From the Chinese perspective, you're saying is that the leafy greens are at the top of the hierarchy when it comes to people's opinions about vegetables.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And especially even when we are dining out with friends, for example, we order a ton of dishes of meats, of shrimps, of seafood, and then somebody will ask this, do we have vegetables?
Yeah.
And then when one of us will add one of the leafy green types. And we're not also talking about, for example, stir fry, like beef broccoli kind of stir fry. We're talking about just that kind of vegetable on the dish.
What's with your hate of broccoli? It's the second time you've mentioned that.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I'm not talking about beef and broccoli.
I think a lot of people can share my feelings towards broccoli.
I know. It has to be kind of leaf. It's not even that kind of root style dishes or vegetables, because it's kind of a balance in the whole meal that you need to have meat and also vegetables.
This is really hot online these days. On Chinese social media platforms, posts discussing vegetable anxiety have gained a ton of attention. The topic of green vegetables itself on RedNote has already accumulated 180 million views and over 785,000 discussions. People are talking about garlic, lettuce, boiled vegetables, vegetable soup, all of it. All of it is seen as a symbol of healthy living. So for young eaters out there these days, vegetables seem to represent, I don't know, something more than just something that grew out of the garden. Maybe it's about discipline or responsibility somehow, or balance somehow. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think one of the major concerns or major tag that we put on leafy greens kind of vegetable is about lifestyle. We are saying that to ourselves that we are having enough meat and carbs today, but also fibers and vitamins in these kind of vegetables are also very important. And so that's why they put a lot of emphasis when they're talking about what's the must-have sort of dish on your plate today, and vegetable takes up a very big part of it. So at the same time, I think we can also agree that a lot of people, especially those work in office buildings, they rely heavily on takeout meals, and that often have very high in oil, salt, have a lot of meat and carbohydrates, and so having certain portions of vegetables throughout the day also is kind of a sign that I'm taking care of myself. I'm having a healthy and also balanced lifestyle.
So this is more about the lifestyle perhaps here in 2026 than it is about the vegetables themselves, right? Because having a healthy lifestyle, like getting out there, exercising, moving your body, getting enough sleep, reduced screen time, all of the things that we talk about with a healthier lifestyle, eating vegetables is also a subcategory of that. And maybe that's part of the reason this has become such a hot button issue.
Yeah, or when I was thinking a little bit deeper on this topic, tracing really back from the probably 50 years ago or probably 80 years ago, China went through that era of suffering from hunger. And then we get into the modern era. And now I think, of course, people's living standard has been totally raised, and people have enjoyed the whole era of we can enjoy what we really want. And then I think now it is the time most of the families past that era, they started to realize that, okay, we have already indulged ourselves in a time that we can eat whatever we want, and now we are starting to think about we need also a balance.
It's like that, was that Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Yeah.
where when the bottom tier is satisfied, you start to look at the upper tier to see what else needs satisfying. Also, people are more weight conscious these days. There was a survey done this year. They did it on post-holiday weight management.
Yeah.
Would be a sensitive topic. Here's what they found. Among Chinese adults, 52.6% of respondents said that their first strategy for managing weight was improving their diet quality by reducing fats and sugars while increasing dietary fiber through vegetables. It's happening in America right now, too, actually. This is from Statista. About 6% of the population in America is vegetarian right now. Another 4% of the population follows a vegan diet. So I found that to be quite surprising. According to those Statista stats, 1 in every 10 Americans is either vegetarian or vegan.
That is kind of surprising, actually.
Only one out of 10?
One in you thought it would be more than
That's still
that.
a big portion.
Yeah, that's what I think.
It's a significant number of the population.
I think that sort of links to a broader sense when it comes to, health awareness is growing, I think, internationally. Also here in China, I start to thinking back of my childhood. I grew up in Inner Mongolia, where we don't really have the habits of eating a lot of vegetables. Our notions of vegetables is peppers, potatoes, onions, and carrots.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
I've eaten food from that region, and I found it to be quite similar somehow to food from Nova Scotia, where I'm from. Very meat and potatoes food culture.
Yeah, but now when I go back to my hometown in Mongolia, they are also eating a lot more green vegetables than my childhood. I think more people are getting aware that we need to include this kind of veggie dishes on our plate, on our table, not only meat and carbohydrates are important, but vegetables themselves are also.
Could this trend also be inspired by something not so nice that's also happening on Chinese social media these days? The carb face
Yeah, that's another.
trend?
Yeah, that's another topic online, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been really, really viral on social media in China now, especially short video platforms. Influencers often point to some of the chubby cheeks, double chins, or softer facial features and claim they are caused by eating too many or too much carbohydrates, such as rice, noodles, and steamed buns.
And then the name that they came up with, which is very mean, by the way, is carb face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have this before and after photo comparison. Is that one have this very tired and puffy look, and that is called the carb face, meaning you have eaten too much carbohydrates, and the other one is more sleek. Has more of a higher spirit, and that is they are saying that if you want to have this kind of look, that means you need to eat less carbohydrates, and so that's in that way you can stay fit and stay more energetic.
Yeah, this particular issue, this online issue about carb face, has gotten a little bit serious online because people are connecting this with beauty standards. And being mean or attacking people online for unnecessary reasons. So it goes down that direction. We're not going to do that today, but I was just curious to know if, I don't know, one internet trend was inspired by another internet trend. And I suppose the silver lining is that if it was inspired by that negative carb face trend, well, I guess it's kind of a good thing because people are now aware that eating vegetables is an important part of our daily diet. We've known that for a long time, but just more on the radar, I guess, of people now. Yushun, Fei Fei feels guilty about not eating leafy greens during a meal,
Yes.
despite her obvious hate of broccoli. I don't have such feelings. If the vegetables are there, cool. If they're not there, I'll get them next time. It's kind of how I feel about it. Where do you land?
I kind of have the same feeling. I will just, well, this meal I had a full bowl of fried chicken. Maybe next meal I will have a salad.
I would definitely
That's
search.
why I call it balance.
I will definitely search for at least a piece of lettuce somewhere.
My brain just immediately went to, ooh, what kind of fried chicken? I totally ignored the salad part.
Yeah.
I was not interested in that at all. We need to be more like Fei Fei. That's probably just good advice anyway.
Yeah.
On any topic, I suppose, yeah?
Having that
Mindful.
principle of at least one dish of vegetable.
Yeah. You're listening to Roundtable. Make sure you get your leafy greens in your belly today. Coming up next, Heart to Heart.
Heart to Heart, a moment just for you. Your questions, your stories, your voice. Our shared conversation.
It's the first time that I listened to this new promo.
Well, we haven't had a heart to heart in a while, so we're happy about that today. But yeah, I don't know whose voice is that. I don't even recognize it.
That's one of other colleagues of ours.
Yes,
Very nice.
Huang Rui.
Heart to heart. We love this, by the way. We always say that we love it, which probably sounds cliche and disingenuous, but we actually do really love hearing from you, our listeners. So roundtablepodcast at qq.com, roundtablepodcast at qq.com. You can send us a voice note on anything that you want. It can be things that we talk about during the show, or you can just let us know what's going on in your own life, or if you have a question for us, you can ask that too, just like Margaret did today.
Hi friends from Roundtable, my name is Margaret. It is the second time that I will share the voice memo with you. And this time I want to ask a question. And I've noticed that your show, Roundtable, covers a really wide range of topics. It seems that all these topics are not very related at all. So how do you prepare for each episode? I think in a very short time, because you will update this episode every day. The reason I ask this question is because sometimes I do a little bit interpreting in my work. Every time the topic changes, I find it very hard to keep up. Although I listen to like podcasts or sometimes I read some English articles, but I find that the words, the vocabulary, or the expressions I've accumulated cannot always be used in the new topic or new subject I've encountered during work. So I would like to hear from your tips if you can guide me or share your good experience with me. Thank you very much, and I hope you are doing well in the coming days.
Thank you very much for your message, Margaret, and your questions as well. Yes, that's true. And I think that's true for any language, right? When you talk about one particular topic, if you stick within that genre, then you'll find vocabulary will repeat itself. For example, if you look at one sports article about baseball, you might find some similar vocabulary in a story about golf because it's within the genre of sports. But if you're bouncing from the healthcare industry to AI chatbots to golf then the vocabulary is all over the place, and that makes things a big challenge for sure. Anyway, let's get to your question, Margaret. You wanted to know how we go about preparing for our show, because on Roundtable, which is one of the things we love about it, is that we have so many different topics from all over the world.
And I'm really glad that you realized that we have different types of topics, and you're absolutely right that many of our episodes and topics are not directly related to one another, and that's actually very much by design, I think. Yes, we want to bring our listeners a wider range of course, stories, ideas, and maybe even sometimes perspectives, so that each episode offers a kind of different lens through which to understand the world around us. And we definitely hope this kind of variety keeps the conversations fresh and also introduces listeners to subjects that might not have explored otherwise. So I think, you realize that that's good, and we did it. We kind of did it intentionally.
Yeah, but I also think that brings to the sort of a second question that Margaret posed, is that when you encounter different subjects of different topics, and when it comes to the use of phrases and words and vocabulary, can be very challenging. And I think that can also happen with us a lot of time. We're talking about AI today, and the terms will be very different. We're talking about healthy eating, for instance.
Yes.
But I think the one thing that we can do is don't really overthink about that, because when it comes to, even though you are not really familiar with the jargon that existed in that topic within that silo, but another phrase, another way of using your words can still make sense to the other part of that conversation. Even though it may not be the jargon within their sphere, but, it's language. It still makes sense. And I think, on the other hand, it's just don't stay in one bubble. You just need to expand your horizons every day, either listening to more podcasts, either reading more, either talking to more people, just exploring to more fields, more topics, challenging yourself on a daily basis. That will also help a lot.
Yeah, of course, preparation before your work is definitely very important, and for us too. The whole show is actually the work, the effort of a whole team. Behind every episode is a whole group of hardworking people, like our program editor, our researchers, and everybody.
We have meetings where everybody brings topic ideas to those meetings. We discuss those topics as a group. We make decisions together about which stories will be discussed on the show. And then once those stories are chosen, then our team of writers that Yushun just mentioned, they work very, very hard. Everybody does, to prepare as best as we possibly can for each show. For me, Margaret, I've been in radio for about 25 years now, and why I love Roundtable and why I think it's a good show I'm biased, of course, but why I think it's good is because we do cover so many different topics. And that's good for you, I think, but it's also good for us because it keeps us passionate and it keeps us interested in doing the show every single day. We do as best as we can to become experts on any particular topic for our discussion. But some topics are quite hard and some topics are unfamiliar to us. So we really have to dig deep to learn as much as we can. And that makes doing this show really, really fun for us. And in my opinion, if the show is really, really fun for the people who are on the show, then that will reflect to the people who listen to the show, like you. At least that's the goal, anyway. Margaret, thank you so much for your query. I hope that answers the questions that you had. And again, we do love it when you get in touch with us. So send your voice notes to roundtablepodcast@qq.com. Roundtablepodcast@qq.com. You could find yourself on an episode of Heart to Heart. And with that, that'll do it for today's Roundtable. I'm Steve for Yushun and Fei Fei. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy your time, and please do come back again.